Hi, this is book five of Trials and Testimonies of a Blood-Bought Saint, entitled "The Devil Among Us." Um, where I left off at in chapter four was I had just gave my life to the Lord. God was dealing with me, and so I had been in church, you know, probably for some months now after this. Yeah, I wasn't there long. I wasn't there long in the church that I had got gave my life to the Lord in Kingdom Authority. So I wasn't there long, and I was on. Man, I came in. Whatever they asked me to do, I did. I was on usher board. I was picking people up from church. Basically they were called transportation. If anybody needed a ride, I would go get them in my own car. It was whatever they asked me to do. So this they end up bringing in this guy. He was supposed to help get the church on track because it was like they understood God, how to finances, and making sure that everything, the checks and balances, they didn't really understand that stuff. So they brought in this one guy, and he was a choir director. He had been in churches for a while. He was supposed to be really good with the choir. I had been there for a while, and I thought our choir was good. But after he got there, it got a lot better. I do have to admit, man. But it was I had started hearing about how he talked to people, and I already didn't like him. As soon as I started hearing man, like he real disrespectful when he talked. Like even some of the sisters, like they be in tears after talking to him. He was very abrasive, and so me, I haven't been saved that long. You know, I still have machismo mindset. Like, he ain't about to talk. It wasn't oh, let me pray for him or whatever. It was I just wasn't with it, but I didn't too much care for him. So he got the choir going, but like I said, praise and worship was excellent through the God. So going forward, it's like more and more stuff. He's getting into it more and more people, and they basically giving him a pass because he's helping them get the church get the books together. He got the praise team official. And it was basically like the stuff he was doing was overlooked. And then so they had like little meetings or whatever. I never wanted to get involved in that stuff. It was just like I really didn't want to be on board, none of that. But it was like whatever you need. It was like with God, I was like whatever need to be done, I'm gonna do it. I just wanted to serve God in every capacity I could, man. So, um, meanwhile, every time that the apostle prophesied, it was like I would get some crazy prophet. It'd be way different from everybody else's, man. So everybody was like looking at me. I ain't gonna say everybody was looking at me, but it was like I was standing out, basically. And I ain't gonna lie, it did have my head kind of swell. But I wasn't going around like this and that, man. I was staying in my lane. God told me to say something, I would say it to somebody. That's just where I was at. But this dude, it was like I kept hearing my name in his mouth. Like they said something. I gotta admit, because I used to be when I came into church I worked out a lot, so um, I was still pretty muscular and stuff, and most of my shirts were muscle tees. That's what I wore. So wearing the church and stuff, it was like and it was stuff. They would start changing. They didn't address me directly, but they would like mention the dress code and how people were expected to dress, and everybody knew it was like directed at me. And it was like it's like we got to do this because you. It was like I was like my bad. It was like this is what I had, But I was like, all right, I guess I could go out and buy me some t-shirts. But up until then, because I was putting all my money in church, like literally. this was one of the things. I mean, I had forgot about this, but it was where when I would go to church, because I had a bad habit. I was not good with money at all. I wasn't good with money at all. And so when I got paid, I would go cash my check, and I would keep all my money in my pocket. Every dollar I had, no bank account. My pocket was my bank account. And so when I started going to church, I'd be in there, man, and then they'd be like to give, and then I would hear the Holy Spirit say, "Put it all in." So I would do it, and I was thinking it was a one-time thing, but every week I got paid, and I'd be in there, put it all in, and I'd be like, man, you know. And then, I tell my mother, I mean, I was getting behind on bills and everything, but it was like, and so when I did get money, I was kept playing catch up. When I got paid, I was like, oh, I got to run and pay this. And then when I finally got stuff paid off, I was still, whatever I had, put it all in. And I'd be like, man, like, why? And my mother would give me a few dollars to help me get the payday because she was happy that I gave my life to the Lord. So she was helping me. But I just didn't understand it. Like most people say, I wasn't God. I'm like, man, I knew this was not me. No desire in me wanted to put my whole paycheck in. But I did it. I was being obedient to God. It was so much to the fact that when I had decided, I said, I'm not carrying it made me stop carrying all my money on me. So I said, when I go to church on Sunday, I'm not carrying my paycheck. So I left it at home. I took some money with me, and I put that money into the church, into the offering. And then we had a men's meeting. And we've had other meetings and stuff before, but we had never, but this one I was like I said, I didn't carry it when I went to church, but any other time I carried money. So we went to the men's meeting, and they were having a men's meeting. The pastor was like, man, I don't know why I'm hearing this. He say, but I need all y'all to empty y'all pockets. I need y'all to give everything right now. It's like, and this was me, and I knew that this was God speaking through him, directed to me, because I was trying to outsmart God. I was trying to outsmart God. Say I wasn't carrying the church. If I don't carry the church on Sunday, you can't tell me to put it all in. So I carried on another day, and this happened. So this is a little backstory. So I'm sure, like me, that obedience had a lot to do with the prophecies I was being given at the time. So, because I could tell from a lot of people they didn't have that. They was not going to do that. Put all the money. They were faithful people. It was. I'm not knocking them, but it was like every week a lot of them was like, man, I don't know why you doing that. When they was heard what I was doing. I'm just like, I'm just doing what I'm told to do. But anyway, so this guy over praising just kept hearing my name in his mouth, man. And I'm already aggravated towards him, and my aggression towards him. Because so a few times he would like say little stuff, and then the stuff I would hear him say to people, and man, I'm telling you, it was see me, I am not an aggressive person. I am not confrontational at all. I am very passive aggressive. Once I get to that point, I will hold everything in and not say anything, and people will take it as me being intimidating. But it's like, I just don't like it. I try to avoid those situations unless there's no other issue resolved. If there's no other way to resolve the situation other than confrontation, I will. People, like I said, people are taking it as me being fearful, but I'm like, once you go, because I know once I'm finally there, it's only forward movement for me. It's no leveling things out. Like with aggression, it's okay, we're here. What do you want to do? How do you want to handle this? Because whatever you want to do, I'm prepared to do right now. What is it? And that was my mentality. So it's like, but That rarely happens. Like most people, they just like I'm the jolly, happy go lucky, just jolly all the time, just me. Because it's like most times when people aggravate, I go deal with it personally. I go deal with it before I just held it in. Now that I'm with God, I give it to Him and I pray about it that anger don't build up in me. But before I would hold it in, it would turn into like blind rage. But so even at this time, I wasn't with the God. I didn't know how to give it to God really. It was building up, and and it was getting like really a lot of animosity because it was just talking about in the usher board how in the usher board doing this and like they actually it was they actually I was like became like the head usher. Never wanted it, and then they came and told me that they were gonna sit me down from head usher, and they gave it to a younger dude, and I was like, okay, because I never wanted it anyway. And they was like, you can still be on the usher board, and I'm like, okay, whatever, and but I knew it was him just trying to use what Piaz to get at me, because it was like he had to be time. He had to be that guy. He needed to be that guy, the one everybody was looking at. So it wasn't just my name. It was like he was causing a lot of chaos, and they was letting him get away with it. It was foul. So it got to the point. It got so much to the point. Whenever he was near me, he would be behind me. I could feel when he walked up. It was like this being. It's hard to describe. It was like this just negative energy between us that I could feel him. Whenever he was near, walking by, I could feel it. And I'd be like, man, I'm going to end up mangling this guy one day. And that's just how I felt. I'm going to end up mangling this guy one day in the church. And it was building up to the point that I started having these perverse dreams. Perverse. I mean, weird stuff. And I started noticing whenever I had the dream, I would go to church and I get pulled to the meeting about some bull crap between me and him. Some issue that he got with me. And I was like, so I told a friend, and I was like, because it happened like the first time, I was like, that's weird. The second time this happened, I was like, huh. I said, the other time I had this dream, we got into it. I had a dream this time, and the same thing. I went to church the next time, and it was some bull crap with him. Because I'm telling the apostle, I'm trying to talk to him like, man, this dude is foul, man. He wasn't listening to me, though. I was trying to tell him. So he going, I'm thinking because he coming to me acting like, because like he wanted me to be in a position, and he wanted me, he talking to me, but he going back and he talking to him about everything that we talking about. And that's what fed the animosity. So what ended up happening was the tension kept building. Even the third time, I told a friend of mine, I said, I had another one of them dreams again. She's like, what you do? Because I told her. And sure enough, went to church with some more bull crap. Some he say, she say. I got caught up in. And I was just like, I'm getting tired of this. Like, I'm talking to God. I'm like, I'm getting tired of this. I said, God, because the rage in me it was there. To the point I said, I forgot what it was. We was in the back room. And we got to, it was a little back and forth. And, because I'm like, because they had been in church for a long time. And they didn't understand. And I don't think they really understood, because you got to understand, church life is different from the world life. How things are handled, how things are done. And they had been in so long, that was their way of life. They didn't understand that wasn't mine. See, in their way of life, somebody getting punched in the face in church was something that just like that don't happen. But in my life, this was something that was about to happen. He was about to get got in the back of that church. I wasn't there. I hadn't been saved that long. You know, I didn't know all I was. I still had a lot of emotions and things that I didn't that God had to rail in. So he talking to me like he has some kind of power over me. And I'm sitting and I'm confused. Like, no, you don't. Like, what are you talking like? Because that's how they're like, oh, I have this position, so you have to, like, you don't pay me. I don't work for you. I'm voluntarily coming to this place. What is wrong with you? So we just had them and me, because they letting him talk this, and they didn't understand. Like, I was ready to tear that church up. But the senior pastor caught hold to it. He caught it. He knew what was about to go down, and he ended up inviting me out to lunch, and he talked me down. And he's like, man, he was like, and I said, because he stepped in when we were in the back, jaw jack. He stepped in, and he was just like, all right, let's just squash this or whatever. And he ended up calling me to lunch, and he told me, and I said, man, I was about to beat the brakes off him. He said, I knew it. He said, I knew it. I didn't understand how nobody else picked up on this, but he did. Like, they were so into church, like they didn't understand that this is about to be an issue. Because once I'm mad, it's gonna take a lot. Once I get there, I'm full steam ahead. It's no rationale or nothing. It's hammer time. And he picked it up. So he ended up talking to me. And from him talking to me, I was like, you know what, man? Like, God, I serve you now. I can't be like this. I said, regardless of how he is, I can't be like this. I can't have this rage in my heart. I have to learn forgiveness. You know, I have to learn this stuff. So I started praying about me. Said, God, whatever is his issue with me, don't let mine be with him. And so I prayed, because I told you, when he would walk in that rage, that negative energy between us would just be there. And one day, this is how I knew it, because every time he walked past, it was almost like my head would just like feel like it's beaming. I said, God, what is that? He said, that's you, not him. He said, that's all the stuff you holding on to. He's like, that's not him. You feeling that because of you. So that's why I went, I said, okay, man, I got to get this together. And I went, and I started praying. I started forgiving. I started praying for him, that God deliver him and help him and change him. And then it went away. I didn't feel that way towards him. I was like, my mindset was on, maybe he just doesn't know. Maybe he just needs to be better. He nobody's ever been around him and been better. But that wasn't the case though. So, but I just wanted my heart right with God, that when God saw me, that, I would be blameless in that situation. And that was the thing I was concerned about. I said, when God see this mess, let me be blameless in it. Let me respond right and do right. So, we praying. He's steady offending people. It's steady. Always some bull crap around him, man. Like I said, when I saw my sister, my sister-in-law coming out of crying, I was not happy. I wasn't. And I'm like, man, but I just kept praying. So eventually you start hearing stuff about, one of the other dudes from the church and him being kind of close, a little too close, if you ask me. If you know what I mean. They were getting a little bit too close. The dude was married and everything, not the choir director, but the one he was being close with. And then, everybody was like, there was some red flags. That, it was a praise team, because when he was there, they was like, something about this ain't right. They was like, the whole situation seemed a bit sus. So I'm listening to it and stuff, and I'm like, man. So I go talk to the apostle of the church about it. He got off the phone with me quick. He didn't want to hear nothing. You couldn't tell him nothing about old boy. That was bad. It was like, because he's helping. He's helping. That's all they saw. He was helping. So what what ended up happening was eventually everything came to a head. Come to find out that they were in a relationship, you know, they were sleeping together, and he ended up twisting the Bible, showing the married guy, because who was fighting, who was trying to live a heterosexual lifestyle, but who had came from that. The choir director was showing him scriptures, trying to show him that it's okay, homosexuality is okay, and he twisted it, and he believed him. He told him it was okay to be that way, and it was fine. He used that in a relationship. So, but what ended up happening when it got exposed, because they coming in wearing matching outfits and stuff, and even the pastor after a while said, "Man, like what's going on? Why y'all wearing the same clothes like that?" And they like, nah, we just good friends, we just good friends, and but when it finally came out and everything came out and he got exposed, they gave this devil too much power, man, because he was handling everything, the bills and everything. So he tried to, once he ran out of there, he ended up having the power shut off at church, and it took a minute to get that cleared up. But this was the thing. The apostle was upset about it because nobody called him. When they came and they saw the sign, there was no church, because it was in the wintertime, so we wouldn't had any heat or anything. So we had to cancel church, which was something we never did. We lived in church, man. We were always there. My God, it was like Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Oh, we having a special meeting. Lived in church, man. That's something I'll never do again. I'll never do that again, because family, man, you need balance in life, man, and that's where a lot of us went wrong. We put church over everything. It was like we didn't tend to our family. There was no, man, you said, oh, I'm taking a couple of days off to spend some time with my wife, us to go do a few things and spend some quiet. Man, it was like heresy. It's like, that was like heresy from the church. It was like, it wasn't something you would hear people go like every blue moon say they're going to take a vacation, but it wasn't something regularly they did. Yearly, like, no, you didn't hear that. I need to spend time with my family. You didn't hear that. It was church. We having church. You got to be there. So anyway, the power cut off, but nobody called him. He was upset about it, and the reason nobody called him, because the demon that they allowed to run rampant in the church had wounded people to the point that they became disenfranchised with what went on there. We were like family. We were like family, and that devil came in and was just wounding people and division, man. And then, like, don't get me wrong, talking about like you was people like, oh, that church probably apostate. It was like full of power. Went on the street, man. Hookers and all that, man. People repenting, casting out demons. We did it. That's what it wasn't. Don't get me wrong. It was just a lot of, because it was a younger church. It was just a lot of immaturity and a lot of knowledge, but a lack of wisdom. It was very much so a lack of wisdom in there. A lot of knowledge, a lot of power, lack of wisdom. So that's what started the downfall. But anyway, this demon, man. But the dude was so bad. So the dude that he ended up convincing that homosexuality okay, once he found out and let me back it up. I'm missing some details. I almost was omitting this. This was like an important part of it. So once I said I had got to the point where I had forgave him. I had forgave him everything. But once I found out that he was sus, and you kept hearing the rumors, it was like I had my guard up around him. Because this was the thing. They said, this was sister told me. I don't know how she found the information. The dude, he named me and a few other dudes at the church and told them in the meeting, he said that we had a homosexual spirit chasing us. And he was right. he was the homosexual spirit chasing us. This is how demons do. Oh yeah, it's a spirit of homosexuality. Yeah. So this dude was plotting and planning just to turn dudes out in the church. That's what his plan was. So once I peeped what he did, it was like I had my guard up. Like I was, even though I said I forgave him, I was every bit, he came at me the wrong way, I was gonna put him down. I was like, cause this is my thing. You in God, you know better. For you to try to set me up like that, or to come at me like that and do some stuff like that, you the devil. And this devil wasn't getting exercise. It was gonna get the brakes beat off him that day. So I'm here. So he came to me one day and he said, "Yeah, Apostle broke us up." He said he broke all the men up in groups. We supposed to be meeting with him. He said he put you in the group, in one of my groups. So he said, "I'm gonna set up a meeting with you." I was like, "Okay, whatever," because he still, like I said, he still had his whole thing with me. But I was like, it wasn't nothing. I was like, whatever's coming. I knew it was some bull crap though. I knew it was something shady that he was that he had that he had up his sleeve. So anyway, he invited me over. He ended up calling me and told me, I came to his apartment. We ended up talking. He's like, "You nervous?" I'm like, "You nervous?" Like, "No." Like, what am I nervous about? Because I'm pretty sure I could take you, in this situation. I'm just waiting. I'm talking. He talking to me, and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't even remember what we talking about." I'm just waiting on him to come out of pocket because the whole setup didn't seem right. Why are we meeting at your apartment instead of the church? You saying this is what Apostle? I'm like, I never even asked them about it. I just was like, this whole thing just don't seem right. But anyway, it's like, all right, and then it ended up ending. It was like, I guess he's trying to feel me out. And he saw that wasn't nothing happening, so we kind of ended it. And like, all right, went. But then I heard that he invited another one of the brothers over there. This was what I heard. I didn't hear from the horse's mouth. But the brother looked away and turned around, and my man had his pants around his ankles, exposing himself. Because he was a smaller dude, so he tried him. And I'm like, you know what? But I didn't go to Apostle and them about it. This was like before everything went down. I didn't go to him about it because I already tried to. He didn't want to hear me. Like this is crazy because it's like it's got to be character over gifts. I don't care what somebody have to offer. If their character is messed up, that's a devil. It's like you rein that in. But they let this dude because he was talented. He was very talented. Played keyboard. He very talented guy. But that's what Lucifer is. Talented. Music. Great with it. But yeah, they let this guy run him up, and towards the end, Apostle had to go and rally everybody together and try to get everybody motivated back again. And it's like, but a lot of people was hurt. That was his fault. That was on him. He dropped the ball. But like I said, a lot of knowledge, a lot of power, lack of wisdom in that situation. But he was like, well, this wasn't something. I'm using this because this is something I saw. These were things like God had to deal with me with personally. It was like I wasn't like people like, oh, people try me all the time. And like back in the day, man, I would have raged because it was like people cross the line. People, even now that I've been saved, people have pushed me across that line. But like most people that they'll talk to you, like I'm not an angry person. I am not a person who's vindictive. I'm not a person who's vengeful. I'm not. They'll tell you. They just thinking I'm just happy-go-lucky all the time. But it's like God had to deal with me over time. That, because my thing was once you played me, I was like, I'll cut folk off. That's what I did. I didn't keep negativity in my life like that. Because I'm like, if you steady coming around me, if I got to work with your environment, something like that, and you just constantly doing negative, eventually that was going to be a problem. But I say this because There's always, I'm sure in every church, there's somebody like the choir director. There's somebody who's supposed to be walking with God who's whose character is completely jacked. Who's probably talented and gifted, maybe supplies a lot of funds to the church. But if you put that gift, that talent, or whatever, even the resource they provide over their character, you building that house on sand. You're building that house on sand. But this concludes chapter 5. I thank you all for watching. I pray that God blesses you all, that there be no sickness or infirmity, no fear, no rage in your life, that God delivers you from everything that you're struggling with, and you have nothing but peace and prosperity. Thank you all for watching. Good night.